She walks in, eyes scanning the room. You notice nothing, but she notices everything. The air shifts, subtle and almost imperceptible when some men enter a space. You've built your body, your business, your life like a temple, polished and perfect. Yet the spark isn't there. She's polite, cordial even, but her energy drifts. She doesn't chase, she doesn't crave, and deep down, you feel the sting of invisibility. Meanwhile, another man, unremarkable on paper, careless in his appearance, commands desire effortlessly. Why? Because attraction is not a transaction, it's a mirror of your inner world. Achievement without presence is invisible. The lie you've been sold is simple. Collect value, display it, and women will fall. Gym hours, business deals, social proof, they call it a roadmap to love. But women don't track your accomplishments. They track your energy. They fall for the man who lives inside his own skin like a fortress. You can be admired and ignored simultaneously, applauded for your life while remaining emotionally invisible. External markers are the currency of mediocrity and attraction. Status without self is nothing. Consider sexual market value, the silent scale of desire. It's not a ledger of assets, but a perception calibrated by your internal state. Confidence, presence, self-possession, these are invisible signals, yet they carry more weight than a six-figure bank account or a sculpted body. Women subconsciously measure, is he above me or below me? Above, and curiosity turns into obsession. Below, and desire evaporates before it forms. It is subtle, brutal, and often unfair. Perception outweighs possession. You see your friend, a man with outdated clothes and a beat-up car. He speaks without trying, laughs without performing, carries no checklist. And suddenly he is magnetic. Women orbit him effortlessly, texting, flirting, seeking attention. What he possesses isn't money or muscle, it's internal state. Bulletproof confidence, unshakable presence, a hint of mystery. These qualities cannot be faked. They are the invisible architecture of addiction. Energy precedes interest. Preselection amplifies desire, but the world has twisted it. Men think flaunting attention or bragging builds attraction. The truth is subtler. Preselection is energy, a quiet signal. He is wanted but indifferent to the neediness of approval. Women smell desperation instantly. It kills curiosity, and curiosity fuels obsession. When desire is authentic and effortless, it becomes infectious. Desire cannot be manufactured. Validation is the silent killer. When your self-worth depends on her glance, her compliment, her approval, you enter the validation death spiral. Your power diminishes as you chase the very thing that should never control you. Women sense it before you speak. A nervous glance, a need to perform. Attraction collapses. Conversely, the man who is self-validated, who needs nothing outside himself, radiates a rare magnetism. He is untouchable, unconquerable in her eyes. Approval is weakness, self-belief is power. Presence, the act of inhabiting the moment fully, is a lost art. Most men live in the past or the future, the memory of failures, the anxiety of outcomes, the endless what-ifs. But when a man exists fully, listening, observing, interacting without agenda, he becomes magnetic. Women feel seen, recognized in ways words cannot convey. Presence is a language older than speech, older than culture, and infinitely seductive. The moment is your weapon. Internal peace is even rarer. A man comfortable in himself, content in his solitude, unshaken by circumstance, is intoxicating. He does not crumble when challenged, does not crave affirmation, does not bend to fleeting whims. This peace is not passivity, it is quiet strength, stoicism made flesh. Women are drawn not to chaos or charm, but to calm certainty. Stillness attracts what noise cannot. The dance of masculine and feminine energy governs obsession. Masculine energy is direction, stability, and groundedness. Feminine energy flows, feels, reacts. When a woman encounters a man anchored in masculinity, she can surrender into her natural energy. This polarity, the friction of complementary forces, creates desire that is emotional, deep, and consuming. Ordinary men are too reactive, too needy, too desperate. They invert the natural polarity. Polarity is the spark, not compatibility. Attraction is not about what you own or how you appear. It is about the energy you radiate, the internal architecture you cultivate. Women become addicted to men who carry themselves as if they belong to no one but themselves, who are self-validated, present, grounded, and subtly dominant in their own lives. This is the invisible signal that eclipses all external measures. And for those who understand this, desire is inevitable, almost mechanical. Who you are becomes the drug. Power is silent, it doesn't shout. It doesn't seek validation. A man who understands female addiction moves in quiet confidence. He doesn't post his successes or tally his conquests. He exists, and the world bends subtly around him. Women notice before they know why. His value is not in what he does, but in who he is when no one watches. True power is unseen yet undeniable. Rejection is a tool, not a threat. Most men fear it, twisting themselves to avoid it. But to the man women become addicted to, rejection is irrelevant. He does not require acceptance to maintain his internal state. He knows his worth is independent of external affirmation. This indifference is magnetic. It forces women to invest, to pursue, to prove their interest. Indifference ignites desire. Curiosity drives obsession. A man who cannot be easily read, who does not reveal all at once, creates a mental labyrinth in her mind. She begins to fill the gaps, to imagine, to wonder. Every unanswered question, every subtle gesture fuels her emotional investment. Mystery is not a trick. It is a natural extension of a man who is self-contained, whole in himself. Mystery is the engine of addiction. Women feel, not see. Men chase looks, abs, cars, and titles. Women chase the way they feel around a man. Emotional intensity, presence, humor, calmness, dominance, playfulness. These are the currencies of desire. A man with mediocre looks but a compelling internal state will eclipse a model in her attention. She doesn't rationalize, she experiences. And that experience, once emotionally embedded, becomes a craving. Feelings outweigh facts. The paradox of desire. Sometimes absence creates connection stronger than presence. A man who is not always available, who has his own life, passions, and boundaries, becomes an enigma. Women are compelled to fill the emotional space he leaves behind. Their imagination and longing bind them to him. Too much availability destroys curiosity. Scarcity amplifies obsession. Space is the scaffolding of addiction. Pre-selection, done right, works without effort. The man who casually interacts with women, who is respected by peers and admired for qualities other than wealth or looks, signals status. But it is authenticity, not performance, that counts. Women detect deceit instantly. A man who pretends to have options while secretly desperate becomes transparent. Pre-selection is invisible yet persuasive. It's an aura, not a show. Authenticity is seductive beyond display. Internal calibration matters. A man anchored in self-respect does not waver with external circumstances. She may compliment, criticize, test, or withhold, yet he remains centered. This stability is rare and intoxicating. Women sense the difference between reactive men and men whose value originates from within. The more grounded he is, the more her emotions escalate: attachment, curiosity, desire. Emotional stability is irresistible. Masculine energy does not compete, it directs. A man who lives in purpose, who moves through life with intention, attracts not because he chases, but because he commands. Women respond unconsciously to this signal. They feel safe yet intrigued, drawn yet free. Polarity is intensified when masculine energy is paired with feminine responsiveness. Ordinary men lack this center. They react, they plea, they chase. Presence trumps performance. The subtle art of non-reaction is a force multiplier. When women test, provoke, or withdraw, the addicted man does not crumble. He does not amplify her behavior with emotional reaction. His calm becomes a canvas on which her desire paints itself. She chases the emotions he remains unshaken by, drawn to the rock-solid certainty he embodies. This is not manipulation, it is mastery of self. Non-reactivity commands fascination. Finally, internal peace is contagious. A man who accepts himself, who is comfortable with solitude, who creates fulfillment from within, projects a rare energy. Women sense completeness. They unconsciously crave it because it allows them to surrender, to invest, to emotionally depend without resistance. Addiction is not forced. It emerges naturally when a man is whole, grounded, and unbending in his internal reality. Wholeness is the ultimate attraction. The apex of attraction is connection, not conquest. Women are addicted to men who create emotional experiences they cannot resist. A man who moves beyond techniques, beyond manipulation, becomes a force of genuine influence. He doesn't seek to control. He embodies a presence that naturally commands attention. Connection is the currency of obsession. Intimacy without need is intoxicating. Most men equate closeness with dependency. But the truly magnetic man understands that giving space while being fully present creates longing. She feels him without having to chase, yet she yearns for more. Desire deepens when she senses he does not need her, but chooses her. This is subtle dominance without aggression, emotional authority without control. Independence breeds obsession. Polarity is non-negotiable. Masculine energy attracts feminine energy in a dance as old as time. Women respond to presence, strength, and groundedness. Men who have lost touch with their masculine core fail to elicit the emotional surrender that creates addiction. Polarity is not a role, it is an internal state expressed outwardly. When it aligns with authenticity, she cannot help but be drawn. Energy, not effort, determines attraction. The addiction deepens through emotional contrast. Calm when chaos surrounds, unwavering when tested, yet capable of passionate intensity, this spectrum captivates. Ordinary men are flat, they overreact or underdeliver. The addicted man moves fluidly between dominance and vulnerability, certainty and mystery. Each shift pulls her further into his orbit, a gravitational force she cannot escape. Contrast fuels desire. Women crave investment, but not from neediness. When a man invests emotionally, yet remains detached from outcome, he signals abundance. He gives without begging, shares without pleading, and listens without strategizing. She feels seen, valued, and desired simultaneously, an emotional cocktail few men can produce. Addiction grows naturally when her energy is amplified by his grounded generosity. Detached investment ignites obsession. The power of anticipation is underestimated. Men who reveal too much too soon extinguish desire. Women become addicted to the slow reveal, the layered complexity that invites discovery. Secrets, quirks, and inconsistencies invite curiosity. She imagines possibilities, fills gaps with emotion, and projects desire where facts alone could not reach. Patience and self-expression becomes a tool of magnetic influence. Anticipation outpaces availability. Presence eclipses conversation. Words matter, but they are secondary to energy. A man fully engaged, listening deeply, responding authentically, creates an invisible current pulling her toward him. She experiences him, not the narrative he tells. Most men speak to impress. The magnetic man speaks to connect. This difference is felt, not calculated, and women are wired to respond to it. Energy is louder than words. Rejection as empowerment reverses the dynamic. Men addicted to by women do not fear no. They understand that boundaries create intrigue, scarcity, and desire. When he turns her down, not out of cruelty, but out of self-respect, he signals value and autonomy. She feels compelled to earn what cannot be freely taken. Rejection paradoxically draws her closer. Boundaries are seductive weapons. Addiction peaks in authenticity under pressure. Life tests him. Stress, challenges, criticism. Women sense if he bends to circumstance or maintains internal equilibrium. The man who remains centered, even under attack, exudes mastery. Emotional storms that would destabilize others only magnify his magnetic pull. She becomes emotionally dependent, not because he demands it, but because he embodies a standard she cannot replicate. Calm in chaos is irresistible. The final truth: women become addicted to men who are complete without them. They crave what they cannot control, desire what they cannot manipulate, and chase what exists independently of their influence. Internal peace, non-neediness, presence, authenticity, and polarity coalesce into an aura that draws her inexorably. When a man masters himself first, women follow, not because of what he has, but because of who he is. Wholeness commands devotion,